Hello, everyone here, and hello, everyone in our online audience. Welcome to our panel presentation, Harnessing Technology to Empower Women and Young Girls in the Digital Age. We're all excited to be here today, and as the moderator for today's presentations, I'd like to welcome everyone to this event hosted by the Pacifica Institute. My name is Zainab, and I'm so honored to be a part of this nonprofit organization, which was founded in 2003 by Turkish immigrants in Central California. The Pacifica Institute is rooted in the social movement of Hizmet, which means service in Turkish. Our work revolves around social justice, interfaith dialogue, advocacy for positive change, and education. For those who may not be familiar with the term, Hizmet is a movement that emphasizes the importance of serving others. It's a philosophy that guides our organization's values and principles. At Pacifica Institute, we believe in making a positive impact in the communities we serve. We strive to promote respect, understanding, and cooperation among people of different backgrounds, religions, and cultures. As an immigrant myself, I can attest to the importance of having a supportive community. For many of us, Pacifica Institute is not just a nonprofit organization, but a second family. We come from diverse backgrounds, but we share a common goal of making a difference in our communities. For refugees in particular, Pacifica Institute plays a crucial role in their survival, provides a sense of belonging and support that is essential for their well-being. Before we get to today's presentations, I'd like to first want to commemorate the many lives that we lost in the Turkey-Syria earthquake. As you may have already heard, a devastating earthquake hit Turkey and Syria on February 6th of 2023. The earthquake caused immense damage, leaving at least 45,000 people dead, and many more injured or homeless. We send our condolences to those who were lost and believe that it's our duty to support those who were affected by this tragedy. As you may have noticed, there are flyers over here that contain more information on this topic. You can find safe links to donate on our flyers. Anything and everything counts more than we think. So please, let's keep hope alive. Now, I'd like to invite all of you for a moment of silence for those who we lost. Thank you. We're honored to have you with us for this special event today. Today's presentations showcase the great work being done by the members of the Pacifica Institute. I encourage everyone to listen closely and engage with the presenters. Today's topics include women and youth empowerment on education and social activism. Thank you for being a part of this event, and I hope you enjoy the presentations. I'd like to start by inviting our first speaker of the day. Please welcome Nilüfer Sagat. I'll first introduce Nilüfer to you. Nilüfer Sagat is a women's rights and empowerment advocate who immigrated from Turkey at the age of 13. She currently lives in Mountain View, California, and she's a first-year computer engineering student at UC Santa Cruz. In her spare time, she's playing chess, works at Starbucks as a barista, and she's volunteering at Pacifica Institute, where she joins interfaith programs and mentors middle school kids. She's a participant in the Youth Link since the beginning. We're all yours.
Thank you, Zeynep, for the brief introduction. All right, let's start. Today, I'm going to be presenting our projects to empower girls in Silicon Valley related to coding, creativity, and collaboration. And let's start us off with who I am. I know my friend Zeynep already introduced me, but I want to give you guys a brief background. As she said, I'm Turkish and I'm a computer science student, computer engineering student at UC Santa Cruz, and I'm a first year. I love playing chess. I have 2 lovely cats, and I am a member of Youth Link, and I love traveling. That's why we are in New York right now, and my friends also love traveling as well, I guess. And yeah, talking about Youth Link, you might be wondering what Youth Link is. Youth Link is a platform that is a result of our bi-weekly brainstorming meetings of young women group in Pacifica Institute. We were discussing what we could do to empower young women, and Youth Link was a result of these meetings. We started it for our community at first and expanded the platform to Europe. After initiating this platform, we thought we could present it in United Nations CSW NGO 65, which was actually 2 years ago in 2021. And that's how the journey of YouthLink actually started. Basically, it is a bridge between continents where young Turkish immigrants who share similar backgrounds met. After bi-weekly meetings, continuing since 2020, we embraced YouthLink as our brainstorming and project initiative platform. That's how we got engaged with each other quickly in the past 3 years, and this year as well. As a result of this platform, we did lots of brainstorming and projects to support our community. Basically, we had clubs where girls with similar interests connected to each other and got engaged with each other in discussions or activities and events related to their clubs. And some of the clubs that we had were a photography club, mindfulness club, we had the book club, social activism club, the climate change club, and music and animation clubs. Right now, we're more focused on climate change and women empowerment. That's why we are constantly trying to think of new projects and take action towards making an impact. And let's talk about some recent events of YouthLink. Some of the recent events are the integration of refugee women to public life in COVID era, which was our presentation that we did 2 years ago with my friends from Cologne, and we met via YouthLink, and we presented YouthLink along with our different projects that year. And yeah, and other events was why the climate change matters and our climate school. We also presented that in CSW last year as well with my other friend Bahar, and she's also from Cologne, and she was a member of YouthLink as well. And for the climate school, basically last year what we did was giving some like we had like a climate library for kids in our cultural center, and also we went to some volunteering activities with some middle school or high school girls, and we also got engaged with other volunteering activities as well. And we also had sort of like a climate school where we basically made like flyers to increase the climate like awareness. And in those like flyers, we actually had some facts about recycles and other stuff as well, like trashes, recycles, and garbage. And so yeah, that was our climate school for last year. All right, let's move on to today's topics, and I'm going to briefly go over today's outline. So first of all, we're going to talk about inequality in tech industry, where I'm going to talk about the facts about Silicon Valley, about the women to male comparison. And then we're going to move on to the COVID women and tech, where we're going to discuss, like, we're going to talk about COVID era and how women got engaged with technology. And then we're going to move on to the Python4Girls and hackathon4Girls, which are actually our projects for this year. And lastly, we're going to move on to the conclusion part, where we're going to talk about our future events. All right, inequality in tech industry. First of all, I just want to briefly mention. Thank you. First of all, I just want to quickly say that all the information mentioned in slides are as a result of these our research, and you can find the sources in slides. And right now we're going to talk about like the reality of Silicon Valley and some facts. Okay, I would like to start us off with a quote. Basically, men hold a massive 73.3% of all tech jobs, and this unfortunately leaves women with a percentage of 26.7% of tech positions. And unfortunately, women get lower pay for the same grade of work. And this is a really sad fact, unfortunately, and you might be experiencing this firsthand as well. But this is the reality of Silicon Valley. And I was also pretty disappointed when I heard that this was actually a fact, because as I said, I'm from Turkey, and I didn't even think this problem would exist in the United States as well, but it does exist, and it is a big of a problem. And yeah, let's move on to this data. As you can see, this shows the numbers from the percentages from the past 4 years. And you can see that women is only 1/3 of the male in tech industry approximately. And these numbers are pretty sad as well. And unfortunately, young girls and college students are getting discouraged by the lack of role models and a plethora of gender stereotypes. And you can see that from this number as well. A lot of women or young women are getting discouraged by these numbers. But the good news is that as we're getting more engaged with technology, with organizations like Girls Who Code and coding clubs in high schools or colleges, the number of women in tech industry is actually increasing, and in the future, hopefully it is going to increase as well. And I also want to quickly talk about my experience as a young woman in college studying computer engineering. And unfortunately, I'm taking some engineering classes, right? And unfortunately, in my engineering classes, we were only like 8 girls, whereas the rest of the class, I didn't even count the males, but it's like a big classroom. So I am thinking of approximately like 80% of the classroom was male, and the rest we were the girls. And this is actually pretty sad as well. And this was my personal experience with tech classes, engineering classes, and this was my assembly language class, which is a core class that you have to take for computer engineering. And yeah, so the problem really does exist from the personal perspective as well. But let's talk about women CEOs first of all. As I said, the girls are unfortunately discouraged because there are not that many role models, but we do have really successful CEOs, and they really show that women are actually able to do so. But due to the lack of the numbers, as you can see, it actually says this year's Fortune 500 company includes only 45 women CEOs, which is only 8.2%. So it really does back up my point that I mentioned in the slide before. And you might not know, but these 4 women, the AMD CEO, Lisa Su, and General Motors CEO, Mary Barra, the YouTube CEO, Susan Wojcicki, which she recently stepped down in 2023, like a couple of days ago, and the Oracle Corporation CEO, Safra Katz. These women also give us some encouragement as well. And yeah, but we definitely need to see more women CEOs in the future. I believe so. Okay, let's move on to COVID, women and tech, how women got engaged with technology during COVID era. First of all, I just want to quickly say that in the month of September 2020 alone, 865,000 women left the US workforce, which is 4 times more than men. And you might be wondering, why is that number so high? The reasons are the mass layoffs, disruptions to childcare, ever fluctuating school conditions, remote work, and increased stress and family needs. And I really quickly want to talk about the 2 major reasons of why this number is so high. And those are the disruptions to childcare and increased stress and family needs. So as you know, the schools got closed during COVID era, and a lot of kids were just stuck at their home, where the whole burden was on the shoulder of women, and they had to take care of their children, do some chores at the same time maybe, and they also wanted to like contribute to the maybe family economy. But this also increases stress and family needs. Thus, a lot of women were actually forced to leave the industry, and this is actually pretty sad. But yeah. But I also got some positive news for you as well. During COVID, 41% of boot campers who graduated in 2020 were women. And I just want to quickly talk about boot camps as well. Boot camps are great opportunities for people to get into tech industry, as it provides a sort of shortcut to get into the tech industry and jobs. And I think boot camps are showing the positive side of COVID, as there were like lots of resources online, as well as classes from various platforms. So this really increased how women actually got engaged with technology during the COVID era, because there were so many online options and online classes that they could take. And during like at their home, this data also shows that a lot of women actually decided to get engaged with coding and start boot camps. Excuse me for a second. And another positive thing is, you might not know this, but a White House report actually revealed that essentially all of the income gains that middle-class American families have experienced since 1970 are due to the rise in women's earnings. And this really shows how women actually contributes to the economy as well. And it also shows that we have a really important place in the job industry. Okay, let's talk about our projects now. Python4Girls. Let's start us off with Python4Girls. Python4Girls is our actually first project, sort of. And it is online Python classes for high school and college girls. And I just want to say that our instructor is a college professor from University of North Texas. And I also want to highlight the fact that she volunteered to be the instructor in the course because she values the women empowerment so much, and the empowerment of young girls so much. And she wanted the girls to have the spark to get into coding. And yeah, she agreed to work with us as well. And we're so happy about that. As of now, we have around 20 girls in our Python classes. They are meeting on Saturdays, and they are having the classes right now. And yeah, this is our project for Python4Girls. Let's move on to our other project, which is Hackathon4Girls. And this is our project that is still in planning stage as of now. And yeah, I'm going to talk about it for now. Okay, so you might be wondering, what is hackathon? You might never heard of the word of hackathon before. The hackathon is also, it might also be called the hack day or a hack fest, as it comes from the word hacker, which actually means the clever programmer. And yeah, so basically what hackathon is a way that a lot of people got engaged with each other, with their peers. So it isn't like a day or like 2-day event where people are trying to form up teams, and they're just trying to brainstorm their ideas at first, and they're trying to develop new approaches to solve a problem. And it is a way that a lot of people got engaged with each other, as I said. And it is also a way to come up with new ideas or new solutions to modern problems. And yeah, basically during a hackathon, you're brainstorming ideas, you're engaging with your peers. You also have lots of networking opportunities as well. And at the end of the hackathon, you're going to present your product. And hackathons usually include workshops as well. So even if you don't know how to code, or if you're interested in coding, you should definitely go to a hackathon where you're going to spend a day or two, or maybe two, to just like learn coding, have fun with your peers, your teammates, learn about how to code and get engaged with teamwork. So yeah, it is a really important event for lots of hackers. Also, before going to the roadmap, I just want to quickly come back and tell you a personal story. So basically, as I said, I'm a computer engineering student again, and my journey also started with hackathon as well. I knew a coding language, which was Java, and then I went to this hackathon when I was in 10th grade, like when I was in high school. I was a member of Girls Who Code Club, and they announced a hackathon in Girls Who Code Club. And so basically what I thought was, you know what, I might actually try this out, like try out new stuff. I didn't know what it was at first. And then I remember going to the Google Cloud campus in Silicon Valley, where I'm from. And then I attended this hackathon where I had no friends, by the way. But I found like some girls who were trying to find like teammates, and I joined them. And basically what we did was we spent a day in that venue, and then we learned like how to code. No one in my team knew coding except for me and another girl. So, and I didn't know any like front-end languages or Android app languages. So basically, I had to force myself to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which are like the front-end languages that you see in like websites and all. So basically, I learned it in a day. And we made a website. Although we didn't get the prize, I was just so happy because I got engaged with my peers. I met new friends. I learned I learned like 3 sort of coding languages in a day. So it was probably a gain as well. So yeah, it was really beneficial for me. And then at the end of the event, I remember saying that, you know what, I really want to pursue something related to coding because I really love the environment. I really loved how everyone got engaged with each other and like coded and just like hacked out there for a day. I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to do something related to coding. And that's how I actually decided to pursue a career in computer engineering. And yeah, that's a little story. All right, let's talk about our roadmap for our hackathon, for YouthLinks hackathon. First of all, we started off with brainstorming stage, where, as I said, during our bi-weekly meetings, which changed to weekly meetings from like some time, we discussed what this like hackathon could be like. I came up with the idea and I presented it to our team, like friends and members of YouthLink, and we were like, okay, let's get into this. So basically, we brainstormed how we can get this event right, and we got in action. And okay, first we started with setting a date for the event, and then we're gonna start to look for venue, and we started to apply for sponsorships and grants. And in order to have a better event, we're constantly trying to apply for sponsorships and grants. And since this event is going to be annually, we're trying to make this real for annually. If you'd like to support us, you can reach out to us as well. And yeah, the next step after applying, like not after, but constantly applying to sponsorships and grants, it's finding mentors and lecturers for workshops. Basically, this, as I said, some hackathons have the workshops. It's because we really want people who want to learn coding to come to our hackathon and like leave with like some game, leave with like a new coding language, or maybe if you're not good at a coding language, then you can practice it there as well. And we really valued this step so much, and we also wanted our mentors or lecturers to be volunteers as well. Yeah, and then we're gonna start making flyers and we're gonna post our flyers on that post, and also we are Girls Who Code, which is like an easier way to spread the word around. And yeah, and finally, it is gonna be the event day, and we're gonna start planning for the next year's hackathon. Okay, last slide is about our future projects. As I said, hackathons are going to be annually. So we're going to have them every single year, hopefully. And we also want to give classes and online classes in other programming languages. For example, HTML, CSS, JavaScript could be an option, maybe Java classes, C++, maybe Swift for Android development. We just want to keep it alive as it really gives like an opportunity for girls to explore themselves and learn some coding languages in a judge-free environment and with like really professional instructors. And also it is for free as well, as we really value volunteering work. And we're also planning to target different minority groups. For example, the reason is because we really value the diversity within our classes and our hackathons and all. So we really want to focus on minority groups who maybe don't have the opportunities or sources to learn like new coding languages. So in the future, we are planning to give like maybe specific classes for some minority groups. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening, first of all. I also want to thank to our Zoom and YouTube listeners. And you can find me, if you want to reach out to me, you can find me on my LinkedIn, which is Nilüfer Sagat, my name and last name. And you can also reach out to me via my email, as you can see from my presentation. And we are hoping these projects are going to be beneficial for girls and will affect them positively, hopefully in the future, as well as hopefully it is going to encourage them to take action towards the tech industry. And hopefully we're going to see some numbers increase in the future as women CEOs increase, and the new generation, hopefully the new generation is going to get more engaged with technology and tech jobs. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Wow, thank you, Nilüfer, for your beautiful talk and presentation. It was really, really thrilling to see how women engage with technology these days. Now I'd like to welcome Ayşe Kübra Yıldırım to the stage. Let me introduce her to you. Ayşe Kübra Yıldırım is a college student at Dianza College. Her interest areas are economics and social sciences. She's a member of Youth Link and organizes parallel events at NGO CSW conferences. She's been actively involved with projects that serve towards the sustainable development goals set by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. She wants to be an active citizen of this world, and with this motivation, she organizes and joins programs encouraging human rights. We're all yours.
Thank you, Zeynep, for the presentation. So today I'm going to present you building bridges to equality, providing online tutoring to Afghan refugee girls. I would like to start with celebrating everyone's Women's Day and week that we celebrated before. And this presentation is about the importance of Women's Day and the projects related to it. And so let's start with a quote from Malala Yousafzai. She said, "One child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world." Malala Yousafzai is a Pakistani education activist, and in 2014 she received a Nobel Peace Prize. She awarded to this prize when she was 17 years old, and she is the youngest Afghani who received this prize. And let's look at our outline. This outline is the basic steps that I'm going to highlight today. So it's going to be starting with who am I session. I'm gonna explain who am I. Then we're going to look at our roadmap, designing of the project, and the third step will be project her and the details of our project. And lastly, we're going to look at the conclusion part and the feedbacks that we received from our members and students. So, sorry. Who am I? Who am I session? I'm a college student. I'm studying at the College. My family still lives in Turkey. I moved to US 6 months ago, and I'm an immigrant. So when I met with the Women Empowerment Group under the Pacifica Institute, when I heard their projects, previous actions, I really felt the enthusiasm that they have. So after these interactions, I wanted to be a part of them. So I joined their team, YouthLink, as Nilofer mentioned before. And this is how I became a member of YouthLink. So just to refer back, I want to tell my interests and why I am in this group, why I am doing these actions. So I'm into human rights, and I really pay attention to being a part of these projects. I'm into social sciences, of course, and I want to proceed my career in economics. So these projects were really related to my actions, so I joined them. And I have to mention that in high school, more than 5 years, I joined lots of conferences related to human rights and United Nations. So being in this presentation, presenting this project to you was a dream of mine. And so I'm really happy that I'm in this woman empowerment project. So let's look at our other slide that I'm gonna present. This is our roadmap from problem to progress. And first of all, we defined the problem that we experienced and seen in our lives as immigrants. First step, as I mentioned, was defining the problem. Then, academic encouragement for girls. From my very own experiences, since I am an immigrant in the United States, I faced language and educational barriers in every step, in my college, in my social life. So I think I overcome them in a little bit. So I'm presenting this project and I am interacting with these projects. But I think language and educational barriers are the major ones. And when I observe these with other international students, immigrants, it is really hard to overcome. And I think I'm successful because of having good friends, because they help me a lot. But some people, some immigrants do not have this opportunity to get help. And other major challenges were cultural adjustments and discrimination that we are facing as migrants in this country. And also financial challenges are really restricting the opportunities that we have in our hand. So as Pacifica Institute YouthLink members, we wanted to focus on these problems, obstacles, and we want to share our resources, experience, and start to help other immigrants. So we started the course of academic encouragement for girls. So the second step that we made was suggesting solutions about this obstacle. Online academic support was the first project that come up to our mind when we were doing brainstorming sessions. And as COVID positive side effect, after COVID, we get really used to online resources, online academic opportunities. So we think that as our group, improving these immigrants' educational problems or helping them in education, online tutoring would be really good, and it will be really easy. So we wanted to grow together and share our knowledge and experience, and we wanted to support other immigrants groups, so we can help them to navigate their journeys, keeping in mind that everyone's experience is unique. We come up with tutoring sessions in the different subjects, homework help for their homeworks that they cannot handle, and help them to make conversations with our tutors to improve their language skills. Then we talked about seminars, possible seminars that we can help from inspiring women. The third step was finding the priority audience. We have lots of immigrant groups and minority groups in the United States, so we have to limit and filter these groups. Then we focused on, after brainstorming sessions, we focused on mainly on minority, immigrant, and low-income communities, and especially on girls in these communities. At the time we were deciding our minority groups, we filtered them and we find out Afghan, Ukrainian, Hispanic, and Black minority communities would be good to help. Let me briefly provide you some information that also caught our attention, especially my attention in our searching sessions. So when we were searching about the possible groups, that we find out that in Afghanistan, there is an ongoing crisis. And especially when we look at women's part, that they are affected by this restrictions and lots of different regulations, political regulations. And I found out that college education was banned for women in Afghanistan. So sorry. So sorry again. In Afghanistan, college education was banned for women. And this was one of the critical news that I found out on media, and I want to share it with you. On December 2020, NPR News shared their devastating news about women's education in Afghanistan. Taliban was banned girls to attend school after 6th grade when they were 12 years old. So this is a really devastating information that I received from media, and we find them really heartbreaking from Afghanistan. There's a story that I want to explain and share with you too. It's Zahra's story. Zahra was going to graduate from university. This was her final week when the restrictions came up. And she said, so sorry again, I need a little water. So sorry again. Zahra was preparing for her finals, and the education was banned in Afghanistan, higher education, so she couldn't graduate. And these are her words. Everything is over for me. The only thing I wanted was to be educated and become an engineer and helpful in my community. And but I cannot do anything anymore. Life means nothing for me. And there are millions of other girls and women who banned from higher education after they're 12, they cannot continue their education. So we thought that helping Afghani community would be great. So Afghan community was our priority group. Due to the recent circumstances, we decided our main priority was Afghan refugees. So these refugees experienced restrictions and fled to United States after 2021 crisis. Additionally, because of their proximity, we choose Sacramento Afghani community to help. Let me give you some numbers related to these Afghans. Total in the US, there is 100,000 Afghanis who moved to United States after crisis, and also only in California there are 12,000 refugees, Afghani refugees again, and all in Sacramento. In Sacramento, which is the area in California, the capital of California, there are 8,000 refugees there that settled in Sacramento. So these are huge numbers, and also Sacramento is a really big area that embraced these refugees. So we thought that we have to take action, start to take action. Then we come up with the HER project. HER is Higher Minds Educational Ring. It's an online tutoring program. Let me tell more about this program. After all these efforts and critical thinking, HER was created. We designed these rings for connecting various stories, backgrounds. Tutors were high school students and college students, and the students, Afghani students we want to serve was secondary school, middle school girls. So more details about HER tutoring program. HER is a free online one-on-one classes. So as I mentioned, everyone's experience is different. We wanted to make these tutorings private. So they were on one-on-one classes. They were 8-week tutoring cycles, which every cycle was focusing on different minority groups. And the first one was focusing on Afghani refugees. So then we started to find volunteer tutors. We shared our flyers and announcements in our community among high school and college students, first of all, for finding tutors to help us. We collected availability and possible subjects they can help from tutors. Then we reached out students. We shared we shared our flyers, announcements, and information about our project to the Afghani refugees. We collect their information related to their availabilities and availabilities and the subjects that they need to get help or that they need to get assistance. So sorry about it. Then we made some questionnaires and collect their information with forms and filter them. So the next step was choosing subjects that we are going to help. So science, math, coding, and English are the main subjects that they need help because they are the major ones. And we decided that coding, essay help, homework help would be really good to help them. And science and math classes would be really great to help them. So we choose these subjects in need. Then we matched our tutors to their students, Afghani students, using availability and subject sheets. Later on, we trained our tutors before they start to help other students, Afghani students, because they are high school and college girls. Maybe they don't have experience. Maybe it is the first time they have a tutoring opportunity. So we trained our tutors on methods about how to approach kids and how to keep focus. And we used some of the resources. We introduce some of the resources that we are going to use as tutors. We used Khan Academy, quizzes, Kahoot for questions, and for making the tutoring session more fun. And we used Google Jamboard and Zoom Whiteboard for illustrating the projects, illustrating the questions and the solutions that they are going to show their students online. So I want to quickly highlight that we wanted to make emphasis on volunteering and altruism by encouraging our interested tutors. So we encourage them on altruism and other helping projects. So next step was starting classes. We used some technological tools such as Zoom, Discord, WhatsApp groups, and many others to first of all connect with each other, then make plans, and also reaching students, and also showing their questions, and making different helps. So these were the websites and applications that we get help. So seminars, while our projects are ongoing, we got some for showing the possibility for reaching beyond dreams and potential. We believe that role models such as inspiring and successful immigrant women can boost students' confidence and help them to get inspiration. So while I want to give some feedbacks for you, while our projects were ongoing, we got some of feedbacks, and I want to share these feedbacks from our tutors. So the first one was from Meral, one of our tutors. She said that it helps us, she's explaining her project. It helps us to interact with other nations. It's a really great opportunity. Also, it has provided us confidence. One of our volunteers expressed her ideas after project. Zainab is one of our tutor again. For the student, it provides an opportunity to learn and keep track of school. For the teacher, it gives a chance to meet new people, revise topics in more detail, and take a break from such stressful school life. And the last one from Aisha, one of our team members, coordinators, she said, we helped other students to experience how valuable volunteering is. I am grateful for YouthLink project team who created this opportunity, and I hope this valuable project continues over the years. So actually, I want to highlight that all of our tutors mentioned that this is an opportunity for reaching others, for making a difference. So I think YouthLink and her project is a really great opportunity when we want to summarize it. So I want to show you and explain you our future projects. So we are planning to do 8-week different cycles, which we focused on different minority groups and reach out other minority groups. And we want to expand our tutoring fields, subjects, and if it's possible, we want to expand our project in future. So these are the contact information that you can reach out to me and make a connection with me. I don't know. This is my LinkedIn. You can just write my name, Ayşe Yıldırım, and find me. And my email you can see on the screen. So for the next slide, thanks for listening and joining us, being with us in Saloon, in Zoom, and on YouTube. So any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Kubra, for your inspiring project presentation. Now we have Miha Ushik joining us today online from Canada, Toronto. Miha, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm just going to stop sharing really quickly. Hold on. While I do that, I'm just going to introduce Miha really quickly. Miha is an independent artist who lives in Toronto, Canada. Her songs range from personal stories to humanitarian matters, infusing acoustic R&B, pop vocals, and soulful harmonies. She is also a middle school teacher who does social awareness projects with her students. Last year, she joined YouthLink to expand the scope of our projects and connect with like-minded youth on human rights advocacy. We've been enjoying Miha's music ever since we started our program, and you can find her at Miha's Mic on YouTube. We're all yours.
All right. Hello, everybody. I am Miha Isik. I am many things in life, but to my dear middle school students, I am an overly passionate teacher who does social awareness projects. I'm more of a guide than a teacher, I'd like to think. Just somebody who creates a space where my students can just, yes.
If you're sharing your screen, we're not seeing it.
I'm not sharing it.
Okay. Just
yeah. So I'd like to think of myself more of a guide than a teacher, actually, somebody who creates a space where my students can discover their creativity, get comfortable with dreaming big, and learn how to touch other people's hearts and beautify the world. So when I walked in a class on September of last year, that was the beginning of our school year, I saw 15 pairs of eyes stare at me. Some were anxious, some were scared, some were curious, and some were excited. And I told them to look at their right, at their left, up, down, memorize what they were seeing very well, because this would be where we would be making magic. And over the course of 4 months, that's exactly what we did. Now I am going to share a presentation. Let me know if you can see it. All good? Okay, great. So I met YouthLink in this process of trying to get our voice heard to a bigger audience, and it was an honor to be part of this United Nations conference today. These are my students. They are lovely, as you can see. And I would first of all like to share some KPIs of empowerment that I would like to set in the beginning of every project semester. So our classes are based on social awareness projects using a variety of platforms and different types of activities. We never know what's going to happen. We just decide as we go along the way, which is the most fun part. So the first KPI that I identified is an increasing awareness around a humanitarian topic of interest. So we want to make sure that they are curious and already into this topic, somewhat concerned about it, and they want to do something about it. And number two, we want to foster their creativity and agency and kind of direct that to the topic that we're dealing with. We want to tap into their strengths and skills. We want to make sure that we're utilizing all of the things that are good at, but we also want to make sure that they do gain different skills along the way. We want to emphasize collaborative action, because I think project work has a beauty where if you do share that environment, both physically and emotionally, with other fellow students or colleagues, whoever you're working with, it just creates this beautiful energy that bounces off of each other and just makes it a lot more productive. You feel more supported and the friendships bloom out of it. We also wanted to explore digital activism. This is actually the topic that we're skirting around. We wanted to make sure that this is the Generation Z, so they are tech savvy. They probably know about the internet more than any one of us elders do. So we want to make sure that we can direct that attention, that skill set that they have online, into positive things like creating social change. And finally, we want to make sure that they are forming and expressing intellectual opinions. This is a bit challenging and it requires a lot of work and practice, but we're going to see how we were able to integrate a little exercises and practices into the process of this project. So let's see, what did we actually do? First of all, we wanted to define the problem. So what do we want to talk about? This is a brainstorming session where they throw in their ideas of what we could talk about, what type of a change we could make in the world. The topic of environmental love and animal rights came out from a couple of them, but I realized in the process that they weren't just saying these out of like a just a curiosity or just an excitement to do something about nature, but there was an underlying anxiety behind these statements. So climate crisis turned out to be the overarching theme that captured all of that. And then we know what we're going to do. It's a climate change project, but then what about it? Like, what are you going to do? Lucky for my students, actually, I do have a hidden talent. Well, not so hidden since I share my music mainly on YouTube and other social media platforms. But I am a musician, and we thought we should go from there. Some are already interested in singing and very talented, and the rest had curiosity towards rapping or instruments. So we decided we were going to make a music video. I do have a little clip here of when I first announced to them that we were going to be presenting this project right here where you are right now. And here are their reactions. So remember the conference that we're going to go to on November to perform live? They don't have any space for us anymore. Like, I didn't want to tell you immediately until I found something else. But müziğimizi yapacağız, kaydedeceğiz, müzik videosu yapacağız, belgesel yapacağız ve on March of next year, we're gonna present it here, where Greta is right now.
Oh yeah. No,
Basically.
it's gonna be live.
They're giving us 30 minutes.
Are we gonna be the Zoom?
Are we gonna be famous?
Why not?
Millions of people gonna watch us?
Yeah, it's a big event. Okay, that was the initial reaction. It took a while to calm them down, but it was great. Just so remember the conference. Okay, so research and learning phase. This is where we know we're going to talk about climate change. We want to make a song, but we first want to understand how it's impacting our world. Is the phase where we test our knowledge and incorporate new elements to it. So I would like to talk about the primary role of my assistant students. One of them is actually on the far left picture on the top. These are my students from 3 years ago who came back to my class to help with more of these projects and classes. And it's such a positive addition to our projects because my current middle school students look up to them and they're like, oh, we relate to them in high school, maybe we can come back. So there's this whole recycling phase, if you will, of our students who would like to keep engaged in such type of projects. We do some Q&A style learning. I find that very useful because it's an opportunity for them to learn from each other as well in class and to kind of test their knowledge and fill in the gaps. But we also had research done on our part, mainly carried out by our assistant students, where they shared some facts that deeply impacted the students and their perspective towards the whole climate change issue. And here is a clip of that.
I found the website. So basically, Earth running out of food, that's literally a timer. There is
27 years.
Earth running out of fresh water. Waste from households. Look at it, it's increasing per second. Coral reefs left. How much seafood is left? Tons of waste that is dumped. Hazardous waste that are thrown out that consists chemicals and bad stuff. Number of plastic bags produced.
This is scary. Like right now, that number is going up. They're producing this many plastic bags.
That's more than
I think we should stop using plastic bags.
I remember Sanma Abla, she opened this like place on the internet. It's like this much left if this keeps going of the world, this much this and everything. And then people started thinking about it, actually what's gonna happen to the world, and we just decided to step up.
I didn't know the world was in this much risk.
Yeah. I knew there was trash everywhere, like oceans,
Yeah.
but like I didn't know that
We
it
were
was dependent
that
on
much in
lifestyle.
risk.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a very, sad future. And like, I don't think people are gonna really care. But if we keep working, we might, do it.
So that is an estimate if everything goes wrong, okay? But everything doesn't have to go wrong if we care and we start doing things. We actually are in a crisis, and I want you guys to understand the importance of this project. Yes, it's a little something, it's a song, it's some clothes, whatever, but whoever hears our voice, that counts. Do you guys believe that we can make change? Yeah! I can't hear y'all. Yeah! Can we change?
Yes!
Okay, that was very inspirational, I hope. Apart from these sessions, we also had mindfulness classes outdoors. We don't want to just be stuck up, pent up in the class. We want to go out and experience nature. So these were little activities where we explored the forest in the back of our school. It helped them cultivate that nature love. And here's another little clip of that. Instead of her zamanki gibi böyle dalmak yerine, let's pretend like we're actually visiting the forest, like a house. Forest! Ve, try to like count as many sounds as you can, and I will ask you later, what did you hear?
Hocam! Yeah. Can we walk like beside the water?
Here, hold her. We're going on top of the water.
Right now.
Okay.
I found
Moving on to field work. This is the phase where we get our hands dirty, I'd like to say. We like to show that we're making something, not just saying words, but we're actually making physical change in the world, because this is about climate change. And we went tree planting in a Brampton area. That was an area that needed to be, it was going under renovation, and there was a forest that needed to be planted, a lot of trees. So we just joined the crew, and the children were able to grab the soil, grab those seeds and put them under the ground, and they were able to reflect on those experiences through little interviews that we did in regular breaks. So Zainab, how are you having fun planting trees today?
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's also good when you learn about how to save the environment, and when you know you're doing your part. I know that trees give us oxygen, or better oxygen, for us to breathe in.
I find it really nice that we're doing this because it shows that many people actually care about climate change too, and we're not the only ones. It's nice to see young people and older people joining together to try to stop climate change, and it feels just so good to dig that hole, to put your shovel in that ground, and for you to know that you're helping climate change. We planted a rose bush, an evergreen tree, and a red maple.
Wow. Okay, so there's that. So Zainab, now let's move on to the part where everyone's hopefully curious about. What happened to the song? There were a lot of steps involved with the song and music video production. First of all, it was the lyrics. We needed to fill in the lyrics. That was a huge collaborative effort. They wrote pages of essays on their thoughts and feelings about climate change, and I just put them together like a puzzle to make some song-appropriate versions of those. And we advocated for talent, and we practiced parts, as you're going to see in the next clip I will show. We brainstormed, we did some clothing for how we were going to appear in the video. And there was a lot of hard work and perseverance during shooting, because we shot some parts outdoors, and we're participating from Canada. We're living in Toronto, and we were getting super close to the winter time, and it was freezing, but they persisted, and we were able to get the best shots ever.
First kısımları rap, pre-chorus, chorus bunu tekrarlayacağız ikinci kısımda da. Beat girer girmez bekleyin. Stop burning fossil fuels, restore native trees, stop burning plastic, treat a crisis like a crisis. 1, 2, feature.
Hello guys.
Üste gelince is my microphone on derken yürümeye başlayın. Make yourself hot.
Ben de söyledikten sonra gözlüklerinizi kaldırın.
Hocam, can we stay? While we're talking about burning fossil fuels, restore nature, treat the crisis like a crisis.
Okay, so the publishing and celebrating phase came next. So this is where we finished all the editing. We published them on our social media accounts, which I'm going to be sharing with you later in the presentation. Music video edited, everything is ready to go out, but it's also really important to celebrate after doing such a heavy topic project. So we made sure that they had their own viewing parties, and then we invited the parents, as you can see in the picture below, and they performed it live. It was just very wholesome to wrap it up, and of course the presentation today, which we're very excited about. So I can almost hear you impatiently telling me to put on the music video so we can finally watch it. And I'll go ahead and share my screen now. Here we go.
Ten years ago, I was born.
Mia, it's frozen. Could you do it one more time?
Sure thing, no worries. All right. Okay, let me try again. Working now?
Yes, we see it. Thank you.
10 years ago, I was born into a world with a timer. The trees were burning, the ground was shaking,
The air was choking, but nobody cared.
they left their kids a home of plastic. I'm old enough now, I can't believe it. I'm disappointed and I'm upset. Our churches speak now, you listen carefully. Is my microphone on? Can they hear me now? Can they understand what we're talking about? Stop burning fossil fuels, restore nature trees. Stop producing plastic, treat crisis like a crisis. Put a price on pollution, protect ocean life. Keep firms liable, treat crisis like a crisis.
We're at a crossroads. The earth is warming up.
It's getting hotter, we're at 1.1, my future is burning up. I hear about economy, I hear about politics. I don't even know what they are, but I'm sick of it. Simplify the story, take responsibility. See how Greta did it at 15? That's accountability.
Treat it like a crisis. There are consequences.
See the school strike on the news? We're very serious. Is my microphone on? Can they hear me now? Can they understand what we're talking about? Stop burning fossil fuels, restore nature trees. Stop producing plastic, treat crisis like a crisis. Put a price on pollution, protect ocean life. Keep firms liable, treat crisis like a crisis. No future, no children. No, no, no future, no children. No, no, no future, no children. No, no, no future, no children. No, no future.
Okay, so
It's
there you
amazing.
go.
I can assure that I can definitely assure that everybody everyone's so emotional right now. Thank you. It was amazing, beautiful. You can continue with your project if you like.
Yes. Okay, going back to my PowerPoint. Okay, so just going to wrap up all of this with a few reflections. So going back to those KPIs that I showed you initially, the first goal was to increase awareness around a humanitarian topic of interest, we said. So what was the outcome that we saw from that? It was helpful curiosity and empathy towards humanitarian issues, not just around climate change, but I noticed that they became a lot more sensitive to other things going around them. And now we have a second term project that we're doing on a different topic, and we saw that they contributed so much to that with all of their bright ideas. The next goal was to foster creativity and agency. That was already an easy step because kids are the most creative beings on earth, but the specific outcome that we saw was courage to take on complicated tasks. So they would ask me this question, but how are we going to do that? But now that we have gone through this complicated process and managed to come up with something really good out of it, their dreams have become so much bigger and I can't contain them now. So we're trying to negotiate at this point. The next goal was tapping into their strengths and skill sets. What was the outcome of that? Developing self-efficacy and eagerness to learn new things. They are now not afraid to really jump onto something. Probably also has to do with the next one we're going to talk about, but about being surrounded with like-minded classmates and a teacher who will encourage them to do everything they want. It showed in their behavior, their eagerness, that they're willing to take on new challenges. The collaborative action, which I really value, turned into an outcome of developing a trust relationship, developing friendships, not just on shaky grounds, but really strong grounds, because we were able to work hard towards something and accomplish it together. And the classroom turned into a safe space where they could come and talk about their even own personal life issues. Exploring digital activism, one of our main goals, the outcome was that they learned how to utilize social media tools to make a positive impact, to take ownership of their digital usage. This included TikTok, Instagram, YouTube mainly, and they were able to see how these platforms don't necessarily just have to be on the superficial level, but they could use them as their tools to make the change that they want. And finally, forming and expressing intellectual opinions. So those interviews that we constantly kept engaging them in, sometimes alone, sometimes with pairs, and sometimes as a group, really helped them develop an interest in participating in intellectual conversations. It's of course going to take a lot for them moving forward to develop that talent, but so far what I've observed is when a difficult or challenging issue comes up, they don't shy away. They're able to be curious and kind of insert themselves into that. So these are some of our social media accounts that you can follow. Up above, we have the OK Youth is our social media name, and below you can find my information. So like circling back to that time when I went to the class in September and I told them this is where we'll be creating magic. Well, how could I have possibly known that? There was no way for me to know if this project would be a flop or a success. But I really did believe when I was saying that statement, and that's because children are so dependable. If you believe in them, they believe in themselves. If you trust them, they take responsibility. If you open up your heart to them, they will pour out of their own. And working with female students specifically, I can say, gives me a lot of hope about future for all women. They're resilient, they're compassionate, they're determined, they inspire me every day. And I hope this presentation has lit up a spark in your hearts as well. I would like to leave you with the people themselves. So my students had a message for this conference, and we do have a documentary which I showed you snippets of, but we have a full version of it on our account. I'm just going to show the final part where they wanted to talk to you specifically about climate change. Again, I will share my screen. Here we go.
I feel like people don't really pay attention to actually what they're doing and what that might be causing. We're stepping up for our age right now. We actually.
Sorry?
It's frozen. Your screen's frozen. Could you try one more time?
Okay, sure. I think I need to stop sharing and connect again. Okay.
I feel like people don't really like pay attention to actually what they're doing and what that might be causing. We're like stepping up like for our age right now because like we actually
Yeah, it's frozen again. Let's try one more time, and if it doesn't work out, I'll just share my screen and present it.
Sure thing.
And can you also make sure that it's full screen?
Yes, for sure. Okay, here we go.
I feel like people don't really like pay attention to actually what they're doing and what that might be causing. We're like stepping up like for our age right now because like
Yeah, Miha, it's frozen again. Let me just I think share that. I just need a couple of minutes, everybody. Technical difficulties.
No worries. I'll send you the link on the
Okay.
chat.
Okay, thank you.
And share it. Okay, sent. It's the other one, I think. Yeah, there you go.
All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Is it on? All right.
I feel like people don't really like pay attention to actually what they're doing and what that might be causing. We're like stepping up like for our age right now because like we actually saw what the world looks like. But like most people in our age, like they don't know. All they see is like the good parts they live in. Like in social media, there's like, oh, this is so beautiful, like Dubai, this place and everything. They look so good because that's all they see. I know that someone my age wouldn't just check on the news for climate change and everything. For their age, they should, like, I think they should try to help out as much as they can, maybe like a little promotion like we're doing. But as an older age, I feel like they should do more responsibility about this.
We're not even at high school or something, and we're literally doing at least we can to change a bit of the earth, and I think everyone can try at least.
Most people want money in this world. I won't say all because some people want money in this world. So some people just do what they can do. They do anything to get money without caring about others and how it's going to affect the planet or the environment.
Oil spills are a really big topic to include into climate change.
Sometimes ships can go overseas and they could drop little bits of oil inside the water. That oil, it's so bad for the environment and it's so hard to get it out of the water.
One habitat that's underwater, it's pretty rare to find now, seeing how many there are left, coral reefs. This habitat is a home to a lot of animals, and imagine if this habitat was gone. Imagine how many animals would go extinct with it.
In my neighborhood, there's a big forest that I go and every summer, and I would find little rivers, and I would always see shiny things on it. I would tell my sister, "What is that?" And then she told me that it is gas. Why would be oil in a small river or something?
The people that are in charge are they're not really like focusing on what they're actually supposed to do.
The government, actually. Because they allow the companies, and the companies make money to feed their, child, breadwinner. And people also need to buy. So it's basically the government's fault for allowing to make the money off of that.
I think it's companies, because if they didn't invent plastic, it wouldn't be like this right now. Everything is made out of plastic. Even your laptop, inside, maybe your camera, outside. This computer, everything is plastic. And we can't unuse it anymore. I was just thinking, why are you doing that if it's gonna hurt the world? You're living on this world. It's your responsibility too, not to throw anything, but you're just rejecting that and just littering and doing bad stuff to the earth when this is our home.
I know that like the companies that are doing this, like there might be some rights that they do need to do this and everything, but I feel like there should be some times that they actually stop them and just letting them do whatever they want. I know that they might need to do a little to actually like keep their business going and like just provide food and shelter for us, but like there should be like a limit for them to actually stop what they're doing, to actually just think about other people's lives.
I think that the United Nations starts like pushing down the companies at banks or other stuff too, because they invest in oils, which I think is really bad, because the more oil people make and it goes in cars, it'll get worse for the air.
We shouldn't do oil. We should try changing it with something else.
Please keep a close eye on those companies that make plastic and use plastics. The things that they're not reusable, like they could use something reusable. So please keep a close eye on them.
Or they can make gas cars like $1 million and like so expensive, and then they can make like electric cars so cheap. Or they can take out gas cars and like put more electric cars and like make them the same price as like gas cars. So like, you know.
I think they should like tell them to stop using plastic too much, or maybe they should at least stop polluting the environment with all those plastics and all those chemicals that they create. Maybe like a safer way to create them.
Focus on the lyrics and try to like pay like more attention and do something about it.
If we just stand there doing nothing, even talking about it gives people like awareness of what's going on, and that's even good.
Learn how to take responsibility for other people's lives. Like not just what you want, think about the world, and it's like what you're actually doing to other people.
3, 2, 1.
Stop climate change!
All right, that's going to be everything from our side. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you for your beautiful work. It was amazing. Thank you for your inspiring work and talk. All right, so right now we can spend a little bit of time. I'm working on the questions if you have any. For our online joiners, you can put your questions in the chat, and I'll do my best to help you. We already have one. Great. So one's from Hilal C. Great project, made me hopeful for the future. That's what we're aiming for. Thank you all. I have a question for Nilüfer. We know that technology is nothing without vision. What do you as women hope to bring into the tech industry?
Hello again. I think that is a really good question, Zainab. What I want to bring to the tech industry is a different perspective from the current one. I know a lot of people have different perspectives, but the thing is, in order to have first of all, I really want to bring equality in the tech industry, and this goes from a certain way where a lot of people need to just broaden their perspective towards women, first of all, and then maybe work a bit on more think about equality, more like equality. And for my own perspective, though, I really want to create an environment for people in the tech industry or people who are trying to pursue a career in the tech industry. I just want to have a closed environment where everyone feels safe with each other. And I also want to contribute towards climate change, definitely. Thank you, by the way, thank you, Miha, for your presentation. It was absolutely mind-blowing. I want to contribute towards climate change, and I want to combine it with technology. I also want to include a lot of social problems and modern problems, for example, like human crisis and all. So my vision is finding a solution to these problems and just combine it with technology so that we can create a different world. So that's my vision. That's why I want to become a computer engineer. with this vision and with this perspective. And I think this is like really important as well. And I also believe that everyone, especially the people in Silicon Valley, I realized that a lot of people don't really have a vision. They're just like working in their companies, but they're not doing anything else than that. So I believe that everyone needs to combine some of their thoughts with their skills. So that's why I really love this question, by the way. That's why I also want to do something similar to this. That's why I'm a member of YouthLink. Basically, I just want to, get my skills, contributive towards something for a cause. And yeah, hopefully this answers the question. Thank you so much, Zainab.
Of course, thank you. I can take any other questions for online members. You can put them in the link. And if you guys, if any of you has any question, you can gently raise your hand and our friend will help you with the mic. If you're thinking, I have a question for the YouthLink members. First, before I start, I want to go ahead and congratulate all of you for making all of this happen. You're doing such an amazing thing here, and I adore you. I adore you and I aspire you. I want to ask, in what ways did these projects affect you and your life? Like for each of you, Miha, you too, like what was the significance of this project to you? I can have a little bit of maybe from Aisha Kibra right now, and then Miha.
Thank you, Zainab, for this question. What this group gives me. So I think one of our presentations, I mentioned that as I remember, this group gave me the understanding of the importance of group projects. So if you are in a group and if you are looking for a topic that you want to be beneficial, then you're going to organize something and you're going professionally or non-professionally, you're going to achieve something. I think group works are giving this opportunity for everyone. And additionally, I understand the possibilities that there are lots of ways, as Miha's project, like there are lots of ways as Nilufer's and our project. There are lots of paths that you can follow, lots of details that you can add, and we can inspire each other. I think this project gave me this, like the millions of opportunities and possibilities. Thank you.
Miha, do you want to go next or should I go first?
You can go.
All right. I'll just give a brief answer. As I said, as I mentioned in my slides, being a woman in tech is a bit hard with different problems, unfortunately. And sometimes I feel it in my life as well. As I said, like in a classroom, I am mostly like dominated by males around me. And sometimes I feel like the society puts like the pressure on women that there are like less women in this industry, there are like less people in this industry, like you shouldn't be here. Sometimes a lot of people be like, oh, why are you even like studying computer engineering or computer science? Like they'd be like, I heard these before and I was like sort of shocked. They say like, oh, this is like not like a real field for like women. It's like, isn't it like most engineers like males? Yeah, that is correct, but that doesn't mean that a woman or like a young girl cannot like go with this degree. So sometimes I feel like I really need the motivation to continue taking my classes and all, because they are extremely hard. I accept that, but joining YouthLink and doing some stuff to empower like the other girls or just like encourage them to learn coding. I also found out that I needed the spark as well. And we are like teaching them coding or like getting involved with these activities. Planning a hackathon, I found out like, you know what, like, okay, this is my cause and I should never stop going for encouraging other people into this industry because they can do it. And a lot of women did it. So that was my motivation. It actually motivated myself
So that's why it really affected me personally and my life as well. It just basically encouraged me to pursue my degree as well. Thank you for the question.
For me, I would say just like simply, it gives me hope. Because working with such challenging and heavy topics in all these social awareness projects could be draining, could be very time consuming. But I think I'm very lucky that I get to do it with children because their energy is contagious, and I get inspired by them along the way, and it feels like they revive me every time. And our classes are what I most look forward to in my week. So that's how it affected me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? Chat. I don't see any. All right, now I guess we can wrap it up a little bit. We thank all of our speakers today for their inspiring works and talks. We had a very valuable opportunity here today to learn from each other, to grow, to network with like-minded people. And like hearing these projects from accomplished and inspiring young women was just so incredibly important and mind-blowing to me. We thank all of you for coming here today. We thank you for your time. Now it's time for us to celebrate.